You want to know the secret? The real difference between people who just exist and people who elevate? It's not luck, it's not timing. It's what they do when no one's watching every morning. That first one, see, your morning isn't just a routine. It's your launch pad. It's the spark that decides whether you live the day or the day lives you. Let's break this down. 6 simple truths, 6 powerful shifts. You want to know the secret? The real difference between people who just exist and people who elevate content? It's not luck, it's not timing, it's what they do when no one's watching. Every morning, that first one, the world glorifies the big wins, the awards, the applause, the success stories. But what we don't see is the quiet consistency behind it all. The 1% habit that compounds into greatness. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. or drinking green juice. It's about ownership, the decision to begin every single day on your terms, because your morning isn't just a routine. It's your foundation, your launch pad, your mirror. The first few moments after you wake up set the emotional temperature for everything that follows. And the truth is, if you don't choose your focus, the world will choose it for you. That first one, how you think, how you breathe, how you move, can shift everything that happens next before the world floods your phone with noise, before the opinions, emails, and expectations of others crash into your peace. You decide who you are. That first choice defines the next 99. Are you reacting or are you leading? Are you reaching for your phone or reaching for your purpose? Most people wake up and surrender to chaos before they've even stood up. But that 1% is to their power. They choose differently. They create intention before the world demands their attention. They choose stillness before speed. They ask themselves one simple question: what energy am I bringing to my own life today? That single question transforms confusion into clarity. It separates those who drift from those who direct. Because success doesn't start when you show up to work. It starts when you open your eyes. Your morning is the declaration of how seriously you take your own life. That first hour of your day is sacred. Guard it like a queen guards her crown. No notifications, no distractions. This is where you tune in, not to the world, but to yourself. Think of it as sacred space, your personal ceremony with purpose. Read something that feeds your soul. Move your body. Breathe deeply. Journal your gratitude. Do anything that reminds you you're alive and powerful. When you own your morning, you command your power. People can feel it, the confidence that comes from inner alignment. The world responds differently when you walk in tuned energy. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. The kind that can't be shaken by external noise. You become less reactive, more grounded, more deliberate. That's what owning your morning truly means. It's not about control, it's about connection. Connection with yourself before you face everyone else. Movement is the next key. Energy isn't found, it's uncreated. Every morning, move. Even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Movement is a signal to your brain that you are ready to engage, to show up, to live fully. It's not just about fitness, it's about awakening. When you move your body, you release stagnation. Physical, emotional, mental. You're not just stretching muscles. You're stretching your limits. 5 minutes of movement can transform your state. The moment your blood flows, your thoughts sharpen, your confidence rises. You go from "I can't" to "let's go." That shift is powerful because it's not about perfection, it's about participation. You're reminding yourself, and I'm capable. I'm in charge. The body leads and the mind follows. You don't wait for motivation, you generate it through motion. And that's how transformation begins, by doing something, not waiting for something. Then comes the inner dialogue, the most powerful conversation you'll ever have. The way you talk to yourself in the morning defines how you face the world. You can't pour courage into your day with self-doubt in your voice. You must learn to speak to yourself like you would to someone you love. Stand before that mirror and declare your truth. Not empty affirmations, but powerful acknowledgements of your strength. Say, I'm not my past, I'm not my fear, I am becoming. Every word you speak creates a ripple in your reality. Words shape emotion. Emotion shapes action. Action shapes destiny. That's the sequence most people miss. You have to feed your mind with language that lifts you, because the world will always try to pull you back to average. Every morning is your chance to choose growth over doubt, purpose over hesitation. Speak life into your day before anyone else speaks into you. Once your energy and mindset are aligned, focus on clarity, not perfection. Most people start their mornings buried in to-do lists, chasing productivity but losing purpose. Stop, simplify. Write down the 3 things that matter most today. Just 3. Because productivity without intention is just noise. When you focus on what truly moves your life forward, you create momentum instead of exhaustion. Your morning should make you feel anchored, not anxious. It's not about getting everything done. It's about getting the right things done. Perfection is an illusion. Purpose is power. You don't need to conquer the world before breakfast. You just need to conquer your mind. Create a rhythm that feels true to you. Let your morning be your reminder that you are not running behind. You are right on time for your own evolution. And finally, do one brave thing. Just one. The 1% habit isn't about coffee or cold showers, it's about courage. Every morning, challenge yourself. Say the thing you've been afraid to say. Start the idea that's been whispering in your heart. Send that message, speak that truth, take that step. Bravery compounds like interest. The more you practice courage, the stronger your identity becomes. You begin to recognize yourself as someone who acts despite fear. That shift changes everything. You stop waiting for the perfect time and start realizing you are the perfect time, because every act of courage, no matter how small, creates momentum that carries through your day. The 1% habit is not about routine, it's about identity. Every morning you're deciding the kind of person you're becoming. Are you the person who hesitates or the one who chooses? Every sunrise gives you a choice, repeat or rise. You can live on autopilot, replaying yesterday's patterns, or you can rise and rewrite your story. That one habit, that single moment of awareness becomes your edge. The moment you decide to start your day with power, intention, and courage, everything around you starts to shift. Because transformation doesn't happen in the grand gestures, it happens in the quiet commitment to show up differently every single morning. That's the 1% that compounds into mastery, success, fulfillment. Don't underestimate it. Don't postpone it. Start tomorrow as if your future depends on it, because it does. The world doesn't change when you wake up. It changes when you do. Before the world floods your phone with noise, before a single notification blinks on your screen, there's a sacred window, small, quiet, and powerful. That first breath you take when you wake up is your moment of choice. The moment you decide who you are going to be today. Most people give it away too easily. They wake up and instantly hand over their peace, their focus, their intention, to a glowing screen filled with someone else's priorities. Before they've even spoken to themselves, they've already let the world decide how they feel. That is the tragedy of modern life. We've forgotten that our first thoughts build our reality. But here's the truth, the first choice you make every morning, defines the rest of your day. That choice might seem small, like checking your phone or lying in bed for 5 more minutes. But those small choices are powerful patterns. They're statements to your subconscious about what matters most. And if the first voice you hear each morning is not your own, you've already silenced your inner power before the day begins. The 1% who rise differently. They understand that the first moments of the morning aren't about reaction, they're about creation. They don't open their phones, they open their minds. They don't scroll, they breathe, reflect, and choose. They decide consciously what kind of energy they will carry into the day. Because they know that life doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to energy. And your morning energy is the foundation of everything you will think, say, and do. If you start with chaos, you'll spend your day chasing calm. If you start with intention, you'll move through the world with quiet power. So ask yourself every single morning, what energy am I bringing to my own life today? That single question is your anchor. It transforms confusion into clarity. It takes you out of autopilot and back into awareness. You start seeing your mornings not as something to survive, but something to shape. You start noticing how your choices stack, how the way you start your day determines the strength with which you finish it. This is why that first choice, before sunrise, before distractions, is sacred. Because in that silence, you are raw and real. The world hasn't yet touched you. You're still pure intention, and that's where power is born. Think of your mind like still water at dawn. The moment you throw in a stone, an email, a headline, a message, you create ripples. The key is to choose which ripples are worth your peace. The most successful people guard those first ripples fiercely. They protect their morning mindset like it's the crown jewel of their success. Because it is. They meditate, reflect, breathe, or simply sit in gratitude. They feed their mind before feeding on the noise. It's not about being rigid, it's about being aware. Awareness is everything. When you become aware of what you allow into your space, you stop being at the mercy of the day and start mastering it. You realize that your peace is not a gift from the world, it's a discipline you build from within. So how do you protect this space? You claim it, boldly. That first hour after waking up, guard it like a queen guards her crown. Because that's exactly what it is, the crown of your day. In that hour, there is no room for chaos, comparison, or clutter. It belongs only to you. It's your time to connect with your higher self, your vision, your truth. Maybe you sit in stillness. Maybe you read something that elevates your thinking. Maybe you move your body and wake up your strength. Whatever your ritual, make it intentional. This is where you tune in, not to the noise of the world, but to the voice inside you that knows exactly who you are. When you treat your morning as sacred, something magical happens. You start walking through life differently. You're no longer rushing, reacting, or overthinking. You're leading. You're grounded. You're focused. You carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who owns their energy. And people feel it. They may not know what changed, but they'll sense your clarity, your composure, your light. The power of a protected morning lies not in the routine itself, but in what it represents. It's a declaration. A statement that says, I choose myself before the world chooses me. When you decide to keep your mornings sacred, you're not just building habits, you're building self-respect. Because you cannot serve others, lead others, or love others fully if you are running on empty. The first hour of your day is how you refill your soul. You pour strength into yourself before the day starts pouring demands on you. It's not selfish, it's survival. And once you experience what that kind of intentional morning feels like, you'll never go back. You'll crave that peace, that clarity, that sense of grounded power. Because it's addictive, the kind of addiction that heals you, the kind that helps you show up as the best version of yourself, not just for you, but for everyone who crosses your path. Every time you protect that hour, you're sending a signal to the universe that says, I am ready, I am focused, I am in charge. You become unstoppable not because your days are perfect, but because your mornings are powerful. Challenges still come, but you meet them with composure. Stress still shows up, but it doesn't shake you. You walk through your day with the posture of someone who is centered in their truth. You are no longer reacting, you are creating, and the people around you start to notice. They'll ask what changed, why you seem calmer, sharper, stronger. The answer is simple. You stopped letting the world write your story before you even opened your eyes. You reclaimed your time, your mind, your morning. You decided that before anything else, you come first. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. That's power. So protect your first hour like your life depends on it, because it does. That first 1% of your day is where your strength, your focus, and your greatness are born. Don't let the world steal it. Don't surrender it to noise. Own it, nurture it, guard it fiercely. Because when you own your morning, You don't just own your day, you own your destiny. Energy isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you create. Every morning when you wake up, your body is a vessel waiting for direction. Will you fill it with stillness or strength, hesitation or heat? The choice is yours. Most people drag themselves out of bed, heavy with yesterday's worries, expecting energy to appear like magic. But that's not how life works. Energy follows action, not the other way around. You have to move to awaken your potential. That's the 1% shift that separates the unstoppable from the unfulfilled. You don't need fancy equipment or long routines. You just need movement. A stretch, a walk, a few push-ups, dancing in your kitchen. Anything that sends a message to your brain, I'm alive, I'm ready, I'm in charge. That simple act of motion sparks momentum. And momentum is the heartbeat of transformation. The science is simple but profound. Movement changes chemistry. When you move your body, you release endorphins, natural energy boosters that transform your mental state. Your heart pumps faster, oxygen fills your blood, your brain lights up. You begin to think clearer, focus sharper, and feel stronger. That's why people who exercise in the morning often radiate a different kind of energy throughout the day. They've charged their inner battery before the world even wakes up. But it's not just about biology, it's about psychology. When you move first thing in the morning, you're sending a message to your subconscious, I am disciplined. I follow through. I take action. That belief carries into every task, every decision, every challenge you face. You've already proven to yourself that you can push through resistance. And that victory echoes all day long. What most people don't realize is that movement isn't just physical, it's emotional. Every time you feel stuck, anxious or uninspired, it's not your life that's paralyzed, it's your energy. Your body mirrors your emotions, and your emotions mirror your body. When you slouch, your spirit slouches with you. But when you lift your chest, roll your shoulders back, and move with purpose, something within you awakens. That's why it's so important to move, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's when it matters most. That's when movement transforms from exercise into empowerment. The moment you choose to move despite resistance, you build emotional resilience. You're not just burning calories, you're burning doubt, fear, and inertia. You're teaching your mind that you are not controlled by feelings, you are driven by choice. It's easy to look at successful people and think they have some secret fuel the rest of us don't. But their secret isn't hidden, it's habit. They don't wake up feeling inspired every day. They create inspiration by moving their bodies, aligning their energy, and claiming control over their mornings. They've learned that when you move your body, your mind follows. The discipline of moving early in the day trains your brain to act before it argues, to focus before it flounders, to lead before it lags. This is why movement is one of the most underrated superpowers in life. It's not about perfection, it's about activation. Whether it's a 10-minute run, a yoga flow, or dancing to your favorite song, every drop of sweat is a declaration of power. Every heartbeat whispers, I'm becoming stronger than my excuses. Think about it, how often have you waited to feel ready before starting something? We all do it, we wait for motivation to appear, forgetting that motivation is the result of action, not the cause of it. You don't need to feel inspired to move, you need to move to feel inspired. That's the paradox of progress. The hardest part is showing up, the rest follows naturally. The moment you take that first step, your body starts generating the very energy you thought you lacked. That's the beauty of the one habit. You don't have to transform your life overnight. You just have to move a little more than you did yesterday. Over time, that one pounds into strength, confidence, and unstoppable momentum. Every morning becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are in command of your energy, your focus, and your direction. And when you do this consistently, when movement becomes your daily ritual, you begin to carry yourself differently. You walk into rooms with presence. You speak with conviction. You face challenges with a grounded calm. People notice the shift. They see the fire in your eyes, the steadiness in your step. You're not reacting to life, you're leading it. That's what moving your body each morning does. It connects you with your inner leader. It reminds you that you are not here to shrink. You are here to expand, to rise, to live in full color, full motion, full purpose. Movement is the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. Every stretch, every step, every heartbeat is a silent vote for the future you want. It's proof that you're not waiting for life to happen. You're building it, one powerful morning at a time. So move. Move when you're tired. Move when you doubt. Move when it's dark and no one's watching. Because that movement, that single act of defiance against inertia, is how you reclaim your power. The body leads, the mind follows, and life aligns. Your energy is your greatest weapon. Sharpen it every morning. Because when you move with purpose, you don't just start your day, you ignite it. And once your energy rises, nothing in this world can pull you back down. We talk about self-love like it's a trend. Hashtags, quotes, affirmations plastered across social media. But true self-love doesn't live in pretty words. It lives in practice. And the most powerful practice begins every single morning. In silence, in stillness, before the world gets a say. The way you talk to yourself in those early hours sets the tone for how you will walk through your day. Yet most of us wake up and immediately start tearing ourselves down, criticizing what we didn't finish yesterday, worrying about what's coming, doubting if we're enough. Without realizing it, we begin every day already defeated. But what if you flipped that script? What if instead of judging yourself, you had spoke life into yourself? The difference between a good day and a bad one often starts with one thing, your inner dialogue. The voice inside your head can either be your greatest enemy or your strongest ally. And the truth is, the world, outside of you will never treat you better than the way you treat yourself inside. Imagine standing in front of the mirror each morning, not to criticize, but to connect. Not to inspect your flaws, but to remind yourself of your fire. You don't need to recite empty affirmations or repeat phrases you don't believe in. You need to speak I truths that anchor you. Tell yourself, I am still here, I am still growing, I am still becoming. These words aren't just sounds, they're energy. They sink into your subconscious and become the foundation of how you think, act, and show up. The moment you replace self-doubt with self-direction, everything changes. You start to walk differently. You breathe differently. You begin to carry an invisible confidence that doesn't need validation. That's the kind of self-talk that builds empires from within. Because when your inner world is strong, the outer world can shake, but it can't break you. We've been conditioned to seek encouragement from others, to wait for someone to notice our effort, to clap for our progress, to validate our worth. But the truth is, no one's applause can sustain you like your own belief. Every morning is your chance to become your own coach, your own supporter, your own motivator. When you wake up and remind yourself that you are capable, resilient, and worthy, you shift from dependence to empowerment. You stop waiting for permission to feel proud. You start generating pride through action. You stop waiting for people to believe in you. You had become the person who believes in you first. And once you master that internal conversation, external criticism loses its power. Because when you've already told yourself you're enough, no one can convince you otherwise. That's not arrogance, it's self-respect. But self-talk isn't just about confidence, it's also about compassion. We all make mistakes, we all fall short. Yet the way we respond to those moments determines everything. Most people punish themselves for being human. They replay failures, magnify flaws, and forget that growth requires grace. But the people who rise, the ones who truly evolve, learn to forgive themselves quickly and move forward with love. Each morning, instead of reliving yesterday's regrets, Ask yourself, what did I learn? What can I do better today? And that question transforms guilt into growth. Because the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. And progress thrives in kindness, not cruelty. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend going through a hard time, with understanding, with patience, with hope. That's real strength. There's a quiet power in being gentle with yourself, especially in the morning. The world will challenge you enough as the day unfolds. Why add to the noise inside? Your morning should be your sanctuary, not your battlefield. It's the space where you rebuild your courage, where you plant seeds of peace and purpose. When you tell yourself, I am ready for today, you're not pretending everything is perfect. You're affirming that you are capable, even when things aren't. Your words carry weight, they shape your energy, and your energy shapes your reality. The body responds to what the mind believes. If you keep telling yourself you're tired, you'll feel drained. But if you tell yourself you're capable, your spirit rises to meet that declaration. That's the magic of intentional self-talk. It rewires your mind to see possibility instead of limitation. And this practice doesn't just end with words. It becomes a way of living. When you consistently speak truth, power, and love into yourself, it starts showing in everything you do. You attract different opportunities because you radiate confidence. You form stronger relationships because you no longer need external validation to feel worthy. You take bigger risks because you trust your own voice. You start moving through life with a kind of grace that only self-acceptance can create. And every morning, as you stand before that mirror, you realize something beautiful. You've become your own source of strength. The reflection looking back isn't just you surviving. It's you at rising. You start to see yourself not as a project to fix, but as a masterpiece still in progress. You stop doubting your worth and start living like you know it. So speak life into yourself. Every morning, every moment, every mirror. Because your voice is the first and most important sound your soul hears each day. Let it be powerful. Let it be kind. Let it be true. You are not your mistakes, your fears, or your failures. You are your courage, your growth, your becoming. The world may not always believe in you, but if you do, nothing can stop you. Speak with love, walk with power, live with conviction. Because when your inner voice becomes your strength, there is nothing louder than your light. We live in a world that glorifies busyness. People wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, as if being busy equals being worthy. But the truth is, busyness isn't productivity, and productivity isn't purpose. Every morning, most people wake up and immediately dive into a sea of to-do lists, notifications, and endless obligations. They start running before they even know where they're going. That's why so many end their days drained but unfulfilled, because they were active, not effective. They were moving, but not meaningfully. The 1% who rise above that noise do one thing differently. They plan with intention, not perfection. They don't aim to do everything. They aim to do what matters. And that's what changes everything, because the power of your day doesn't come from how much you do. It comes from how aligned your actions are with your values, your goals, and your truth. In the morning, when your mind is clear and your energy untouched by chaos, take a few minutes to set your direction. Don't just write a to-do list, set your intention list. Ask yourself, what 3 things would make today meaningful? Not perfect, not impressive, meaningful. Because when you chase meaning, momentum follows. You start cutting through the noise. You stop being controlled by other people's urgency and start living by your own priorities. This isn't about time management, it's about energy management. The most successful people understand that their focus is their most valuable resource. They don't scatter it across dozens of minor tasks. They channel it into the few things that create real impact. And that clarity, that's freedom. You move through the day lighter, sharper, calmer. You stop chasing productivity and start building purpose. Perfection is the silent killer of progress. So many people never begin, never finish, never move forward because they're waiting for the right time, the right plan, the perfect morning, but perfection is an illusion designed to keep you stuck. Real growth happens when you act even when things aren't perfectly aligned. Every morning, give yourself permission to be imperfect but intentional. You don't need a flawless morning routine, you need a focused one. You don't need to do everything right, you just need to do the right things. The magic happens not when you do it perfectly, but when you do it inconsistently. One focused step each day will always beat 100 scattered ones. Stop trying to win the morning and start using it. Stop trying to impress the world and start expressing your truth. The moment you drop the weight of perfection, you begin to rise into progress. Think about the days when everything feels chaotic, when your plans fall apart, your schedule explodes, and nothing seems to go right. Those are the moments that test your foundation. That's when intentional planning saves you. Because when you know what truly matters, you can adapt without losing focus. You can pivot without panic. You can let go of what doesn't serve you and still move forward with clarity. Purpose doesn't crumble under pressure. It thrives in it. When you plan with intent, you stop measuring success by how much you complete and start measuring it by how deeply you live. Maybe the task didn't go as planned, but did you learn something? Did you show up fully? Did you move 1 inch closer to the person you're becoming? That's the metric that matters. Your mornings are not about checking boxes, they're about setting direction. And direction will always outlast distraction. The beauty of an intentional morning is that it creates peace instead of pressure. When you know your priorities, you stop rushing. You breathe deeper. You feel more grounded. You start your day not as a race, but as a rhythm. You walk into the world centered instead of scattered. People will notice it. They'll see it in your calm, your confidence, your presence. It's the power that comes from knowing where you're going. And when life inevitably tries to pull you off course, that sense of purpose becomes your compass. You start saying no without guilt, yes without fear, and not now without apology. Because you finally understand that not everything deserves your attention. You don't owe your energy to every demand, you owe it to your mission. That's how you move from chaos to clarity, from reaction to creation. And here's the truth. Intentional mornings build intentional lives. When you train your mind each morning to focus on what truly matters, you start living that way all the time. You stop seeking validation through output and start finding fulfillment through alignment. You no longer wake up chasing the clock, you wake up chasing purpose. That shift changes everything, because success isn't about how much you do in a day, it's about how deeply you connect with what you do. Every time you plan with intention, you're rewriting the story of your life, one morning at a time. You're proving to yourself that progress doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters most. And when you live like that, success becomes sustainable. Peace becomes natural, and every day becomes a reflection of who you truly are. So stop chasing perfection. Stop glorifying busy. Start planning with purpose. Every morning, choose to design your day, not just survive it. Write down the 3 things that truly matter and give them your full presence. Because when you live with intention, you stop running in circles and start moving forward with clarity. You stop being overwhelmed by everything and start being guided by something. And this is the quiet secret of extraordinary people. They don't have more time, they have more focus. And that focus begins every single morning with one powerful choice: to live on purpose, not by default. Courage isn't loud. It doesn't always come with fireworks or grand gestures. Sometimes it's a whisper, a quiet decision made when no one's watching. Every morning, you're faced with 2 paths, the familiar or the fearless. Most people choose comfort. They hit snooze, avoid the hard conversation, silence the idea that could change everything. But those who live extraordinary lives understand something powerful. Bravery is built in small, consistent moments. It's not a trait you're born with, it's a muscle you strengthen, and the morning is your training ground. Each sunrise offers a chance to do one brave thing, something that stretches you, scares you, or pushes you toward the person you're meant to become. You don't need to climb mountains or make headlines. You just need to take one bold step. Because that one step taken daily compounds into a life that commands respect, not from others, but from yourself. Fear is clever. It disguises itself as logic, as timing, as maybe later. It whispers all the reasons you shouldn't start, shouldn't speak, shouldn't risk it. It convinces you to wait for the right moment. But here's the truth. The right moment never comes. The people who seem fearless aren't waiting, they're acting. They feel the same fear you do. They've just learned to move through it. The courage to start doesn't come from eliminating fear, but from accepting it and taking action anyway. Every morning when you wake up, your fear is waiting too. It sits quietly beside your ambition, daring you to back down. The question is, who do you feed first? When you choose courage, even in the smallest way, you weaken fear's grip. You start to reprogram your mind to associate discomfort with growth instead of danger. That's how transformation begins, not in giant leaps, but in tiny, consistent acts of bravery. Bravery isn't about being fearless. It's about being faithful to your potential. It's about trusting that even if you don't have it all figured out, you'll find a way. Think of the moments in your life that changed everything. Did they happen in comfort or in courage? Growth never happens in safety, it happens in the stretch. That's why doing one brave thing every morning is so powerful. It keeps you expanding. It teaches you to live at the edge of your potential, where fear and purpose collide. Maybe it's sending that email, applying for that opportunity, speaking your truth, or setting a boundary you've avoided for too long. These acts may seem small, but they build something massive: identity. Every time you act bravely, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. And over time, those votes create momentum. You stop identifying as someone who hesitates and start seeing yourself as someone who acts. 400 the 1% habit of daily courage rewires your brain. Each time you do something that scares you a little, you shrink the fear response and strengthen your confidence. You begin to crave that feeling of empowerment. It becomes addictive, the good kind of addiction. You start to see challenges as invitations, not threats. When the world throws uncertainty your way, you no longer crumble, you rise. You've trained for this. You've built that internal armor morning after morning, one brave act at a time. And the beauty of it? That courage spills into everything else you do. It changes the way you lead, love, and live. You start taking up space without apology. You stop asking for permission to dream. You start speaking with conviction because your confidence is no longer borrowed, it's earned. Bravery becomes your baseline, not your exception. Courage is contagious. When you choose to be brave, you give others silent permission to do the same. Think about it. Every movement that ever changed the world started with one person who decided to act despite fear. One person who said, "I'll go first." That person could be you. Each morning when you choose courage, you're not just transforming your life, you're igniting a ripple effect. People notice when you live boldly. They see it in your energy, your choices, your presence. Your courage becomes a mirror that reflects possibility back to others. You remind them that fear is not a stop sign, but a signal that you're moving in the right direction. You teach by example, not by instruction. That's leadership at its purest form, not commanding people, but inspiring them through the way you show up. And when you make courage your morning ritual, your life changes in ways that words can barely capture. You begin to trust yourself completely. You stop negotiating with fear and start partnering with it. You realize that bravery isn't a destination. It's a way of walking through the world. Every morning becomes a declaration. Essa and I will not live small. And that declaration echoes into every decision, every opportunity, every relationship. You'll still feel fear, of course you will, but it no longer controls you. It becomes a sign that you're expanding, that you're alive, that you're growing beyond your limits. That's the gift of doing one brave thing every morning. It doesn't just change your day, it transforms your destiny. Because the truth is, you don't build courage once and keep it forever. You build it daily, deliberately, decisively, and in that repetition, you create an Anshaka. Be a version of yourself, one that fear can't silence, failure can't break, and doubt can't touch. So every morning do one brave thing, just one. Take one small step into discomfort, one honest action towards your purpose, one fearless move in the direction of your dreams. Because that's how courage compounds, one decision at a time. Don't wait for permission, don't wait for confidence. Create it, build it, live it. Fear will always be there, but so will your power. And the moment you choose to act in spite of fear, you're not just surviving, you're leading, you're evolving, you're becoming unstoppable. The world doesn't change when fear disappears. It changes when you decide to rise above it. Be that rise, be that force, be that one who dares. Every sunrise is an invitation, an open door to rewrite your story. Each morning whispers a question. Ends, will you repeat or will you rise? Most people don't even hear it. They wake up on autopilot, already tangled in yesterday's worries, replaying the same patterns, carrying the same excuses. The alarm rings, and they go through motions, not meaning. But the ones who rise, the ones who live with fire in their eyes and peace in their hearts, they listen. They know that each new day is a reset button, not a rerun. They understand that the 1% difference between average and extraordinary isn't luck or timing. It's intention. It's how you choose to show up when the world still sleeps. Because life doesn't transform in one giant moment of inspiration. It transforms in small, sacred decisions, made again and again, especially when no one's watching. That's what the 1% habit is truly about. The discipline to rise differently. Every day, when you decide to rise, the world starts to respond differently to you. Not because it changed, but because a new did. You begin to notice opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You see patterns in your own behavior that you can finally rewrite. You stop asking why me and start asking what now. That's the shift that separates those who drift from those who direct their lives. You realize that nothing external will ever give you what inner alignment can. The power to change isn't waiting somewhere out there. It's inside you, waiting to be chosen. Every morning is a mirror reflecting your priorities back at you. If you start your day with noise, you live reactively. If you start your day with purpose, you live powerfully. The 1% habit isn't about the clock, it's about consciousness. It's waking up and deciding that your day, your energy, and your purpose belong to you. Think about how you've been starting your mornings lately. Are you waking up with gratitude or groaning into the day? Are you checking your phone or checking in with your heart? The truth is, your mornings are your mindset in motion. They reveal your relationship with yourself. If you treat your mornings as unimportant, you're unconsciously telling your mind that you are unimportant. But if you rise with intention, even if it's just 5 quiet minutes of reflection, you're declaring that you matter. You're setting a tone that says, I'm in charge. The morning is the architect of your day's emotion, your energy, your confidence. That's why people who master their mornings often master their lives. They're not controlled by mood or circumstance. They start strong, and that strength compounds. You don't need a perfect plan, you just need presence. Every morning, start by aligning with who you want to be, not just what you have to do. This daily rise isn't about grand gestures or rigid routines. It's about consistency. It's about showing up for yourself when it's hard, when it's early, when no one's clapping. Discipline doesn't always look glamorous. It looks like small wins, quiet victories, repeated effort. It's waking up 10 minutes earlier to center your mind. It's saying no to distractions that steal your peace. It's reminding yourself again and again that you're not defined by a day's version of you. And when you build that consistency, something remarkable happens. You start to trust yourself. You start believing in your word. Because confidence isn't built by success, it's built by self-trust. Every time you rise when you could have stayed down, you prove to yourself that you can be counted on. That's how transformation becomes permanent. When your actions start reflecting your intentions, not your insecurities. The 1% habit isn't about doing more, it's about being more. It's about deepening your awareness, sharpening your focus, and expanding your capacity to live intentionally. When you rise every morning with a clear heart and a grounded mind, you start moving through the world with grace and authority. People will wonder what changed, but it's not a secret, it's structure. You're not reacting anymore, you're creating. You're no longer chasing time, you're directing it. Each morning, you're recalibrating your energy toward purpose, and that energy spills into everything: your work, your relationships, your creativity, your peace. You start living from within, not from expectation. That's when life stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like creation. You're no longer waking up to escape the day. You're waking up to atone it. And here's the truth. The world doesn't reward those who wake up the earliest. It rewards those who wake up the most awake. The ones who choose awareness over autopilot, intention over instinct, purpose over pressure. Each sunrise offers a choice: stay the same or evolve. Most people underestimate how powerful those first moments are. They think transformation happens in milestones, but it happens in mornings. That's when you decide who you'll be today: strong or scattered, calm or chaotic, deliberate or distracted. Every morning is a chance to rise 1% higher, to become a little braver, a little wiser, a little more aligned with your purpose. And the beauty is, you don't need to do it all at once. You just need to begin every day again and again. That's the secret. Repetition with intention becomes transformation with momentum. So, rise. Rise for yourself. Rise for your future. Rise for the life that's waiting beyond your excuses. Because every sunrise is a new beginning, a blank page, a second chance. Don't waste it by reliving yesterday. Reclaim it by becoming stronger today. This is your invitation to live awake, to move with purpose, to honor your mornings as sacred ground. When you rise one each day, you're not just building better habits, you're building a better life. And one day you'll look back and realize that your entire transformation began in a single decision: to rise when you could have stayed the same. Rise every morning, no matter what, because that's where your greatness begins.